its shape. Now I really looked like a face with a twisted, mocking grin. Something had happened here. I could sense it. It wasn't rational. It didn't make sense to feel this afraid. But I knew, even before I knew, that she was gone. And life was never going to be the same. Part 1. Close Encounter. 1. 4 months earlier. From the 1066 Herald, June the 7th. Country rangers spot lights in sky. 2 local men spoke this week of their fear when they witnessed strange lights in the sky over the East Hill. Barry Dane and Fraser Howard told the Herald that they had seen a cluster of red and blue lights dancing over the country park where the men work as rangers. "We were on the night patrol in the Land Rover," said Dane, 38. "Fraser suddenly gripped my arm and pointed upwards. I couldn't believe my eyes." The 2 men described the lights as being in 2 triangular formations that circled each other repeatedly. "The red triangle of lights was larger and moved more quickly," said Dane. "It was eerie. I felt all the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end." Howard, 57, who is currently on sick leave, declined to comment. There were no other reported sightings that evening. Experts say that the men could merely have been seeing the lights of aeroplanes, or lights from the attractions on the seafront, reflected in the night sky. I never wanted to be a photographer for a local newspaper. It just kind of happened. When I left college, I foresaw a future in which I would win prizes for my photojournalism. I imagined myself dodging bullets in far-off war zones, not snapping pet hamsters at the primary school down the road from my house, the same school I went to. I hadn't traveled a great distance in my life, professionally or geographically. I remembered the day I'd been carrying my camera home from the repair shop. It was loaded, and I'd planned to take a few arty shots of trees and such like on the way home, just to test it out, when a man came running round the corner, pursued by half a dozen policemen. As the man ran past me, I did what any self-respecting, law-abiding citizen would do. I took a photo. My advantage was that I had a DSLR rather than an iPhone. The next day, when I was conducting my weekly hunt through the job pages, I spotted a competition in the Herald for amateur photographers. They wanted a dramatic action shot with the theme of crime. I sent them my picture of the panicked thief and the puffed coppers, and the editor, Bob Milner, liked it so much he gave me a job. Now, here I was, 3 years later, 27 years old, on my way to take a photo of a bunch of deluded hippies who had camped out on the East Hill in Hastings, where I lived, hoping to spot a UFO. I wanted to be photographing blazing buildings, heroic deeds, distressed victims of circumstance. I wanted excitement. UFO watchers, I thought. Give me strength. "About time," said Simon when I reached the lift. "So nice to see your happy face," I responded. We paid our fare and stepped into the lift, which was in fact a funicular railway that took tourists up onto the hill during the season. Nobody who lived in the town ever used it, except for overweight journalists like Simon. I looked out at the sea as the cable car ascended the hill, a journey that took less than 2 minutes. Stepping out of the lift, I was reminded why I liked my hometown, why I had never put much effort into getting out. Old Hastings nestles between 2 hills. We stood on the East Hill and looked across to where its western sister rose up, the ruined castle perched atop the cliffs. Between the 2 hills stand the crooked Tudor houses of the old town, where artists and fishermen share the narrow streets. The main road cut a path of modernity between the aged, pretty dwellings with their dark sloping roofs and oak doors and window frames. Seagulls made nests in cracked chimneys. Their high-pitched cries provided an omnipresent soundtrack to the days and nights. They swooped over the houses towards the beach and the fishermen's boats and huts. Simon noticed me.